Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jeff and Brian
Right.
and David.
Miss-
Oh, and here's Marshall. Yay, Marshall.
Well, Mr. Chair, we're on the air whenever you're ready to begin.
Okay, please get us started, Dave. I guess we could start with Pledge of Allegiance. Is that appropriate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall we stand? I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the
flag
flag
Our own America and to the republic.
which is
Recording
Recording in
stands.
progress.
Whoops, have we?
one, okay,
nation under God.
indivisible, with liberty and
liberty,
justice for all.
So we've gained a fourth member. Okay. Should you announce the TV coverage, Mr. Villalobos?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Montecito Planning Commissions are televised live on County Santa Barbara Television, CSB TV, Channel 20 at 9 a.m. in the South Coast, Lompoc, San Ynez Valley, Samaria, and Orca areas. Rebroadcast of Montecito Planning Commission hearings are on Fridays after 5 p.m. on CSB TV, Channel 20. Today's hearing will also be streamed live on the county's website and will be available for download in a day or two. Shall I move on to roll call?
Please.
All right, great. Commissioner Keller.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller.
Present. Here.
Commissioner Senauer.
Here,
And Chair Police.
Here.
And for the record, Commissioner Kupiec is absent today.
Okay. So would you like to read into the reconsideration motion, Mr. Villalobos?
I'm happy to do so. So the next item on today's agenda is reconsideration of the circumstances of the COVID-19 state of emergency. So the Planning Commission is asked to reconsider the circumstances of the COVID-19 state of emergency, consider whether state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing, find that the legislative body has reconsidered the circumstances of the state of emergency, and the state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing, and direct staff to continue to notice and hold hearings as remote hearings consistent with Government Code Section 54953E3. And I would defer to Secretary Wilson for the official department recommendation on that.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, good morning. Thank you for having this special meeting. The department and staff continues to recommend that the commission make these findings and take an action to continue to direct staff to hold remote hearings. And that would take us to April 13th. And no, it won't. That's today. It'll take us to May 13th. So we probably want to make these findings again at our next hearing, which is April 20th, because our next hearing is May 18th. So our recommendation is continue to make these findings and have remote hearings.
Is there any talk within the department of when that might change, or are we just sort of product of the next spread of the variant?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, we have internally been organizing ourselves for the event that we will end up in person. We don't have a date for that. There are some of the I can't even speak this morning. Board of Architectural Reviews that have gone to a hybrid, which is kind of a both in-person and remote setup. That's what we're going to try to do with the commissions as well. But as of right now, we're still keeping an eye on the variants that keep coming out. So at this point, we would recommend against stay remote to allow us to keep our eyes on it. The County Planning Commission keeps this as an agenda item so that way we can evaluate it every hearing. So if we want to go in person, we have that option.
Okay, thank you. And would you, well, I guess we need to take a vote on this first. We'll get to the next thing later. All right.
And for the record, Mr. Chair, we don't have anyone here for public comment on this item.
Okay. So will you take a roll call, please?
So
I think Commissioner Keller has her hand up
Oh, I
to make a
didn't see-
motion.
Gosh, I am sorry. I didn't see that.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Wilson if there would be, if we did resume in-person meetings, if there would be any requirement of vaccination or mask wearing in event.
Commissioner Kelly, to the chair, I believe that the county has a policy that requires those that come into the office to either be vaccinated and show proof of vaccination and or have weekly testings and submit those results to the department. As far as mask, we just comply with the current recommendations on mask wearing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'd like to
Okay.
make a motion.
Yes, you may. please.
Yes, I would like to recommend staff's recommendation of basically moving forward with continuance of these meetings on Zoom for the next 30 days and reconsider at that time.
We have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay.
I believe Mr. Miller has his hand up.
Oh, boy, I'm not seeing hands these days. Okay, Mr. Miller, you may speak.
This is obliquely related to the topic, but I saw that the County Board of Supervisors passed a motion to change the security protocols of going back in person. Well, that, as a board member or a commissioner who has only ever been remote, will that change how we do what we do?
Jeff, you want to take an attempt to answer that question?
I can, being that it's like Commissioner Miller says, obliquely related to COVID and returning to in-person. I believe that Director Plowman may be able to touch on this at our next hearing.
Okay.
I think what you're referring to is the General Services is doing some security upgrades to both the administration building in Santa Barbara and in Santa Maria. And so it's tangentially related to COVID and going back to in-person, but it's more of a security installation for screening and metal detectors as you enter the buildings.
So security does not cover viral security, for lack of a better terminology. It's not, it's protecting us from other humans, not necessarily protecting us from microbes.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Miller, I believe that's correct. It's more of a physical threat than it is a viral threat.
Understood. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, we should probably worry about both. Okay, well, Mr. Villalobos, you want to take a vote?
Yes, Commissioner Keller,
Yes,
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Senauer,
Yes,
and Chair Palice.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay. So Jeff, or is Willow going to explain this next one to us?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I'll explain it. That this is a special hearing, so there is no other action on the agenda for us. However, I had a conversation with the chair as far as informational items. The other item on the agenda is a required notice for an intent to waive a public hearing. And so that's what is on the agenda. There is no action on that. And the intent that the ordinance requires us to post these on either county or Montecito Planning Commission, depending on jurisdiction, when there is a intent to waive a public hearing. This particular project is, as we all are very familiar and really aware of, is the San Ysidro Roundabout project. And so there's 2 permits that are associated with it. The overall development plan, which is a 5-year time period. The ordinance does require a coastal development permit because in the coastal zone, which has a 1-year time frame. So the 1 year is now almost up on that. So they've asked to extend the CDP. However, there's a 5-year commitment on it. So I can't explain why there's 2 different time periods. That's just the way the ordinance is written. But that's why we are having a waived hearing. The ordinance allows that to occur for CDPs. But there's no action on that. That's just informational in case anybody in the public is interested in why that's on there.
Any questions from the commission? Go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that after a period when they eliminated the traffic control at San Ysidro and the 101 and Jameson, it is now back in effect. I think when they opened up Sheffield off-ramp, they thought they would no longer need the manned traffic control. And that has been back in effect for a little while now. And I think it's showing that this is a particularly problematic intersection, regardless of whether or not Sheffield is open. So we talked about it at the last meeting about some hazardous areas and areas in which there was needed, some attention was needed. So I was glad to see that had been reinstituted. So just a comment about that.
Yes. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have more comments regarding the freeway and the sound walls. Maybe in our next meeting. We'll have to wait and see if they're prepared yet. Anyway, thank you for the information, Mr. Wilson. And I guess we won't have to hear anything from Willow here, Ms. Brown. So we'll just, we have no vote. So this is just information. Is there anything else we want to talk about or speak to?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I think that concludes our meeting. We will be able to reconvene on April 20th and have a further opportunity to dialogue with each other.
Okay. Thank you all.
What? Hold on. Sorry.
Oh, I'll wait for
So
you, David. Sorry.
So just wanted to clarify, we do have a public comment portion of our agenda. I just want to note for the record that we don't have anyone here for public comment before we adjourn.
Okay. Thank you. So we call it adjourned and see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
See you guys. Take care.